Definitely going to mess it up later. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We're a show dedicated to helping people understand, identify, and normalize their emotions from movies and shows, specifically certain scenes. Most likely you've already watched these movies and shows, but we're going to use a different perspective, and one could say a different spectrum.
Yep.
And with that, I'm your co-host for the show, Spencer. Today we are joined with one of our guests, our usual guests, I should say. She is a licensed clinical therapist. She's in Michigan somewhere. I don't know. And her name is Vic. Welcome, Vic.
Thanks for having me back, guys. Appreciate it.
It's the last time. The last time. We don't want you no more.
Never again.
Damn.
We're not going to say the reasons, then we can be sued. Next, we have our licensed clinical therapist, our co-host, our lover of, I would say, fluffy dolls. I don't know. What are they? Stuffed animals?
Toys?
Yeah, sure. But it's weirder than that. Let's be real. His name's Nazir, folks. His name's Nazir. Look at him. He always has that dumb look on his face, even though I don't know. Yep, there it is. And that one. You have so many. Can't choose. All right. So with that, today we are talking Reservation Dogs. Specifically season 2, episode 9. This is where one of the kids goes to see Daniel's mom, who Daniel is somebody who committed suicide. And so while they're in the prison, the mom starts to do a prayer with all of the other Native American folk in the prison. We're going to be taking a look at a scene and, kind of breaking that down, whether it's through like faith or if it's more of just having a moment to have grief.
Yep.
Yeah. And before we get into the clip, Nas, do you have anything to say?
Yeah. So like you said, we're going to get into some spirituality and pull from our lineage, our ancestry. A lot of us folks of color. I mean, there's non-folks of color could too.
Yeah,
but this is
there too. If you didn't know,
they got some ancestors too now. But we pull from the brown ones this week.
Yep. We only like the brown guys.
We're doing the brown ones this week. So I thought this would be a wonderful scene to me to work with my students, show my students. So everyone, appreciate y'all subscribing to the YouTube and then following on the Instagram. Keeps bumping up, so it's just really good. Keep it coming. Continue to share. Let's get into the scene. Let's check it out. See what we got.
It's like everyone's walking around in the sunshine. We're just in the darkness. Bear and Alora especially.
Well, put your hands up on the table, like we just did. Close your eyes. Gonna have a little prayer. I need your help.
What?
Not you. Keep your eyes shut. Eyes closed no matter what happens, okay? Just focus on the dark. Take long, slow breaths. Good. Just listen to your breathing for a second. Remember the stories I told you when you were growing up? About the people we come from. Generations of medicine people. Caretakers. These are the ones held us together as we arrived from our homelands. The healers who carried us and buried us as we marched. Men and women whose songs led us through the dark. They're watching you, my girl. You don't need me. You have them. This is the power we carry. When you really pray, they're all around you. All the time.
Oh shit.
Takes focus though. Intent. Open your eyes.
Holy fuck. Oh shit. Oh fuck.
I spent a lot of energy trying to fix Danny. Instead, I took on his pain. And we shared it. Can't love someone out of hurting themselves, though. I was so focused on Danny. So focused on myself. And I couldn't see. You can't help people who don't want to be helped. I learned that the hard way. You create the space for your friends. You do it with intention. Either the path will be laid for you or it won't.
I know they want to be helped. I don't know how to bring them together.
Christ, girl. Weren't you paying attention? The answer's right in front of you.
You did not explain that scene to me the way I thought it was going to go. Because I thought it was a group of people praying with them, but no, it was their ancestors praying with them. I thought it was the people in the prison praying with them.
It's close.
That's how.
He's like, close enough.
I tried, man. I tried.
You could have just said she was praying and the ancestors were right behind her.
I said something of the sort.
You could have explained it as like Black Panther, the same celestial plane. You could have said that, but you didn't. You just said, yeah, everybody in the prison to praying together. We're back, folks. I'm speechless because Nazir he really knows how to not explain something well at all. And if you'd know that if you saw the Facebook messages he sends me. It's like, what did he mean? Anyways.
Colin gets it.
Vicky, what are your initial reactions? Emotional? Yeah, just
I would have to say when we started seeing the people pop up in the background, the ancestors, and them helping and assisting her, like I got goosebumps watching it. And I was just like, okay, like it's more of like a spiritual connection. Like I felt like I identified with that. Like they're coming through, they're helping her, they're going to guide her, they're going to give her some wisdom or some insight. And she's going to have the answers that she needs to help her with whatever she's going through. That was my initial reaction.
Okay.
Very powerful.
Awesome.
Scene came out of nowhere when I first watched it. Literally, oh, so this is what we're doing right now. Oh, we're crying now. Okay, this is what we're doing.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, I got a lot of I got the same vibes of when, like, in Black Panther, um, just having that, just having your ancestors right there to try and not only like comfort you, but also give you wisdom, since they've been through such traumatic events. Um, so yeah, I'd probably say that's my initial reaction. Um, yeah.
Yeah, valid. We was talking about doing a Black Panther theme. We might actually skip and do one of those after this. So see, folks that watch that show, Reservation Dogs, they know it's tough. It's
Hmm.
the backstory is Danny ends up committing suicide, and they're kind of dealing with the grief, and they all want to kind of escape the reservation and kind of go to California, go to the beach, go to the water, and restart a new life off of the res. Because no one gets off the res, and it's just bad news.
Hmm.
So it's like some of us in lower SES areas, socioeconomic areas, poor areas. All of us get out. It was one of those type of things. So season 2, it's dive into grief and loss a little bit more, and they end up finding this letter that it was something that they wrote freshman year. So now they're getting ready to graduate. They're seniors, and the teacher said, "Hey, here's Danny's letter. You know, you're a cousin, his cousin. You should have it." So she takes the letter and says, "Like, hey, I don't want to open it. I'll go to the prison to see his ma, and we'll open it together." And she's, tough as nails. I'm not opening that letter, and then cusses her out. Get out of here. I don't want to see you. And then it ends up turning. And the other woman that was there, that was her spirit guide. And then her spiritual guide. So it was pushing her, talk to the girl. Do the prayer. And so that's what you end up seeing is the prayer. And so that's when she goes, "Hey, I need your help." So that was her invoking her spirit through hers to find the words, because she didn't have the words. She didn't know what to say. So that's what guided her through that prayer. Powerful moment. Like I said, I ended up crying in that episode pretty hard. And then the next episode is when they like finish off the series, which is like extremely intense, but like very wonderful. They finally make it to the beach and they say goodbye to Danny in California, which is pretty cool. So I think we're going to do some talking and some discussing on how can we use this with clients. If we were to show this scene to other folks of color, how could they use it to empower themselves? That's where I was going to go with this. Vivek, you can go that way, or you can go with how would you give therapy to that young girl whose friend committed suicide and she deals with the grief. It's kind of up to you. It's whatever you think. Whatever you want to talk about, you talk about.
This might be a tricky one. Yeah, I don't know. And the reason why I say it might be a tricky one, because I'm not really familiar with a lot of indigenous culture per se, especially when it comes to the spiritualism part. But I guess I can kind of tailor it to maybe my experience or just folks that I know from my religious background.
I would say, yeah, your experience, religious background, or Black folk in general.
Yeah, well, I can't speak for all Black folks.
True.
Nope, you are the delegated.
Yep, you've been nominated.
I'm the representative for all Black folks.
On behalf of the Black delegation.
Okay, I'll figure it out. I'm not quite sure where I want to go. I did write down a couple of things though, so I'll mention that and kind of just go with it.
Okay, so I can go over it real quick on how I work with students on this issue.
Okay.
So I'll do outreaches with students, right, in certain pockets or sectors of students of color. So it could be Latinx, could be Black folk, right? It could be BIPOC, all just in general. But when we're in those certain spaces and they have me come into those spaces, we're talking about imposter syndrome. We're talking about stress, anxiety. We're talking about depression. We're talking about first generation students. We're talking about feeling othered. we feel like we don't fit in. My LGBTQ students, it's some of the same things as well, them that are also of color. And so I end up using, and not necessarily spirituality, because you can go down the spirituality and the prayer if you want to. I usually go down the pulling from the power and the lineage of your people, of your family, and how badass you are and how badass your family is. And even though you might be going through something, like they didn't quit, you're not going to quit. You're just as strong as them. And this isn't like a shameful thing, like, okay, if you quit, then it's terrible because, they sacrificed for you. It's about pulling from the lineage, pulling from your history. Mm-hmm. We come from a lot of troopers, a lot of awesome, wonderful men and women that were immigrants or that were brought here, and worked extremely hard jobs. So we don't come from like no punks. We don't come from no weak people. We come from very strong, independent cultures, grinders. And so I end up using that in therapy to guide people. Like, you say you don't have the power or the strength to do some of these things, but I know you do. Because you got to the university. This is who you are. This is the grades that you have achieved. This is the certain things that you dealt with either racism, physical, mental, sexual, emotional abuse. These are the things that you've dealt with bullying. And look where you're at. Well, now I'm completely depressed and tired. And you dealt with your depression and anxiety, and you still got here. So there is no weakness. We can use your culture to move you forward through these white spaces of academia, in these white spaces of business, in the corporate world, in the private sector. It's going to be large majority white folk. So this would be a good scene for folks of color to watch, specifically maybe even some that are more spiritual. Mm-hmm. I also have a gratitude, it's not a prayer, it's a gratitude meditation that I'm probably going to go over after y'all give your thoughts. Now, what are you thinking about, Vic?
I think for our viewers, we definitely need to define BIPOC. I'm not gonna lie. A few years ago, I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I learned. I was like, "Oh, Black, Indigenous persons of color or people of color." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So for our viewers who are not familiar with that term or acronym, that's what that means. For me, therapeutically, from the scene, I like how I can't remember the name, but how the inmate was telling the girl to kind of like get into a relaxed state, kind of clear your mind, kind of, pull from your ancestors. She basically was like kind of guiding her, with a meditation, clear your mind type thing, relax. And I really thought that's pretty good. Like, she told her, like, think about your breathing, things like that. So for some folks who aren't typically spiritual, or they're trying to, I guess, maybe get in tune with their ancestors or just any type of spiritual or prayer, power. That's one way of doing it. Mm-hmm. I don't really get into a lot of spiritualism with my clients because typically they don't stay long with me with my primary job. So I do kind of touch on like, well, have you thought about suicide or anything like that? And sometimes they might say, well, no, I can never do that, my religion. And so we might touch on it a little bit. Okay, so how does religion play a part with you? How involved are you? Or what are some things that you do that's been helpful, as far as church or spiritualism or people that you congregate with or fellowship with? And, we kind of identify that as a form of support. So those are good things to have. Actually, do I have an individual client right now? And she's like, I want to get more in tune with my spiritualism, but I don't know where to start. I've kind of been turned off from going to churches because some are kind of overwhelming, in your face type of thing. And then some are kind of too laid back and not engaging enough. And then she had someone that was a client of hers where she works and was like, hey, you should check out my church. And they kind of explained like, this is why we speak in tongues type thing. And then once she had that explanation, she was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But before that, she was kind of weary, like, that might not be for me, but she didn't understand. So I guess having someone understand or having been through that walk and kind of give their experience and say, hey, it's been helpful in this aspect, for persons that are younger who haven't been through that journey yet. It's really helpful. And just having someone that's older or wiser kind of give some advice and say, hey, I've kind of been through it type thing. I think that's really helpful, because this young lady I'm working with, she's like, I want to read the Bible more so I can have an understanding. And I said, yeah, once you feel comfortable and you find a church home, if there's something you don't understand, then you can kind of go and fellowship and go to Bible studies and say, hey, I need more clarification. This is how I interpret it, but is there something I'm missing? So I don't know. That's just kind of my spiel. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of clients that I get into the nitty gritty about that stuff. But I do like that you touched on the work that you do with your clients and students. How you can kind of remind them like, hey, you're a first generation student. You don't come from no line of punks. Like, we're strong folks. I think that's great, especially when you look at a culture that you're not, if you're not a part of a predominantly, white culture, and you're going into this environment, you're facing all these different barriers, right? So you have to deal with your gender, gender roles. You have to deal with skin tone. Like, there's some Indians for India, like just looking at the caste system, things like that. So it's just so much. But I like that you point out some of those things that for BIPOC, we have to overcome so many different barriers all the time. Yep. So it's good to kind of reach back on or pull from spiritualism or, religion or whatever helps you get through those hardships. So that's kind of my spin on it.
I remember I seen this thing. It said, you're your ancestors' wildest dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to tell that to my students as well. When they feel like they're down and out, they're not doing well, and they're just completely depressed and miserable about who they are and the choices that they've made, and they fear imposter syndrome. I'm like, man, you're doing so awesome, you don't even know. You're an idiot. They're like, what? You can't call me that. I said, you're an idiot. You're living the dreams of your ancestors. Well, I'm letting them all down. No, you're not. Those are the lies you tell yourself. Now, if we want to do better, then we can. Let's make a strategy to figure out how we're going to do better. But you're standing on the backs of like hundreds and thousands of members in your family. Pull from that. Pull from that power and strength, that bloodline. So like I said, I use that in my outreaches. I've also used it in one-on-one counseling too, but I do it in a lot of outreaches when I'm working with specific students on imposter syndrome and being in navigating these white spaces in higher ed. It's predominantly white folks. Spence.
Mm-hmm.
Right, what you thinking about over there?
I think it's always good to look back for wisdom, because obviously it's people who have been through a lot in their lives, especially when it comes to people of color. But I also think you also have to try and pave your own way, because maybe they didn't do what they wanted to do, right? And so I just think that, yes, I think we should look back on where we come from and who we are, but then I also think that we should be looking at what we can be doing better, and then what we could be doing more in the future, how we can change things for like people who want to look back on us. For example, I want to own land one day. That's my main goal, just in life in general. And, having that land would mean a tremendous thing for me, because I've told my story of how I've been homeless. All that stuff. And it's coming from where I come from. It would be just more of just a triumph, right? Because I don't know people who, like in my family, who have owned land and things like that. And so just having that in like just in my lineage and being the first one to really do that, and then kind of spread that throughout my family for generations to come. Like that's my main goal, is more look on how we can build something and then keep it for however long, how many centuries or whatever.
So the ancestors had led to your position to be able to own land. And so we're saying it's a buildup and a prestige, so this that the next lineage of you and your partner is now set up financially and fundamentally really well. So they shouldn't have to experience those hardships.
Right.
So correct. You're saying move forward, but also we're using that foundation that we've got moving forward.
Right. But then also with that, like, how do you use, say you don't go through the same things that your ancestors go through, because we're not going to be going through that, right? How do you keep that, just that discipline on keeping on track with, you know, who you want to be, and then who you look back and look how, like, how hard they worked for it? Like, how do you keep that? Right. I mean, and it's a question for both of you, because it's just, you know, how do you keep that going for years and years to come? Right.
So that it's just some different set of sub questions. So specifically the scene here, we're leaning on them for like power and influence to get us through a very tough time. That's what the scene is. How do we find out who we are and who we want to be moving forward, and then using our strength from our lineage and our heritage, our stubbornness? So that's a little tough. You would have to reflect on it every day. So, okay, did I do good by myself? Like for myself? Did I make myself proud? Unless I can make the others that were under me proud as well. Those have passed and those are no longer with us. So that to me would be a check-in. A daily, a monthly, a yearly, a quarterly check-in. Are you on the right path? And so instead of using ancestors, when I'm actually in therapy, I'm like, all right, so the second grade version of you. Second grade. It'll be like the young version, and I'm like, not middle school, second grade. Would they be happy and proud of you? When they look up at you, would they be like, this person's pretty cool? And if that answer is yes, we're good. If the answer is yes, then we're good. I could even use that as your lineage, as your power. If you're doing good by them, most likely you're doing good by your family or your ancestors. And I'm not even really worried about family. Are you doing good by yourself, for yourself? Because if you start asking, are you proud of yourself like now, it gets convoluted with like comparisons to other people, bills, relationships, like job related things. You don't care about that as a second grader. It gets polluted by a lot of different stressors after the age of 13. Because that's when we step into the next evolution of like mental fundamental development. So that's what I usually lean on, Spence, is, are you doing good by the little you?
Right.
If you see them when you're doing your paperwork or you're in your relationships and your job and they're like, this is pretty cool. You didn't turn out to be a Power Ranger, but it's still pretty cool.
Yes, because tons of kids are watching Power Rangers at 2.
No, second grade, not 2 years old. Second grade.
Oh, I thought you said 2. I was like,
yeah, second grade.
What are you talking about?
Second grade. Second grade, you're probably like, what, 6?
No.
7? What age are you, Vic?
8.
8? There we go. 8.
7, 8.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I like to lean on is that. Not 2. Second grade.
Oh, well, I don't listen.
You're on left field.
No.
Sorry.
I like that you mentioned that though, younger you, because sometimes I have to do self-reflection and think back. Like I've accomplished a lot, especially like when I compare myself from both sides of my family, like mom's side, dad's side. But yeah, some days I feel like I haven't accomplished
anything.
Shit. And I have to kind of take a step back and say, yeah, you've done pretty good. Done pretty good. But I don't feel that way.
Isn't that crazy?
I still feel like there's more for me to do.
And there is, but there's also so much that we've already done and been through. Right? You made it to college. You did college. You did a master's. You got 2 babies. You was a Division I athlete and a good one at that. And then you was a coach in the meantime. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. Not to mention love, loss, family, relationship. It's a lot of stuff. So if you were to say that you're unaccomplished, I would be like, you're an idiot.
I am.
But we are at times. We get blinded.
Yeah.
We get blinded.
Mm-hmm.
We get blinded. We forget about the things that we've done, and then we start comparing ourselves to others. To the little version of you. This is what we're going to go with this. Vic, with the little second grade version of you, would she be like, this is pretty cool? And I'm not saying all your circumstances right now in life. If you were to look at the totality of your life and where you're at now, would she be like, this is pretty cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I know the little version of me would be like, there's so many toys.
You keep yourself entertained for days.
100%.
Yeah.
Someone put on their Facebook, they said, what is the number one thing I can learn from you? And just random people were like being braggadocious about like their cooking or their money-making skills. And I said, if you see a toy in the store and you like it, you buy it, no questions asked. He replied, this is my favorite response so far. And it was out of like 100 responses. I was like, why are people bragging about things? Narcissists?
Hey, there's many out there.
I mean, it's true. That's what makes me happy. That's what made me happy when I was younger. I'm sure some others would be like, this is super nerdy and kind of weird. And okay, but I'm super happy and you're the one who's just judging and kind of miserable. So, I mean, to each his own.
Yeah.
When I throw a toy at a student and I'm like, here, play with this, they're like, they light up. Well, the second grade version of me is like, yay, we're playing with toys. And we're talking about emotions and crying. This is really good. He's probably waiting in the corner though. You done with this shit yet so we can like start playing again? Spence.
Yes.
Not 2-year-old. Second grade.
Oh.
Would he be like, this is pretty cool?
I mean, probably. I mean, I'd probably say like, hey, it's a cool truck you got. Oh, cool shoes. Wow, you got tons of video games. Sure. I mean, look, I haven't hit a point in my life, in my career, where I'm like, that's just a cool job. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know it's a good start. It's just I haven't had it where it's like, that's cool. Like, wow, you know? I haven't hit that point yet. One day I will. But for right now, and I think that's what's really always keeping me going. I'm like, I'm not like, you know, I want to have better, and I want to have something where it's more me, right? I always want myself to come out into the product that I'm doing. And I do that with my job now, but it'd be a lot better if I did something where I could, you know, where it fits me more, mold me. And I can put that out there and it would be even better than what it is now. So
what did second grade version of you want?
Probably like, man, I'd probably have to say like Transformers or something like that. I don't even know. I don't even know. Oh man, second grade me. That's a good one.
One of my favorite questions is, what did second grade you want? I wonder what you were when the Jingle All the Way came out with the Turbo Man.
Oh my god, so bad.
That's one of my favorites.
That's why he's got it in the background.
Yeah, my Turbo Man, and I have a real Turbo Man, so finally got it.
They made those?
Yeah, they made them. They made
from
them.
the movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's got.
I will grab it.
Where the hell have I been?
But yeah, honestly, I think when I was in second grade, I just wanted to. It probably wasn't. Like, don't get me wrong. Like material stuff, I always would want that stuff. You know, as a kid, commercials for toys back then, be like, Nerf gun. You're like, oh my god, Mom, I want that so bad. Please.
She's like, no.
Yeah,
it's always a question I like to ask people. I know for me it was just to play. I would like to run around with my ADHD and just play tag outside. And I thought it was going to be a Ninja Turtle or a Power Ranger.
You look like a Ninja Turtle.
I'm telling you.
Oh my god.
All the pizza I eat. That's why I think I developed my love of pizza. Specifically Domino.
Michelangelo. So if you wait a minute, now we have to do this question. Hold on topic. If you were any Ninja Turtle, which one would you be?
Which one is
it's a tough one.
See, because I know mine right away, because I used to watch the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on repeat all the time because I love
live action
Kung Fu. Yeah,
the one where they put on the suits.
No.
What?
Yeah, it's not the cartoon. The movies. There's 3 of them.
Yeah,
we're talking like recently or
no,
like
this
back
is
in the
like
day?
this is like in the 90s.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
I've been under a rock apparently.
For
All right,
30 years.
Yeah.
So which one would you be, Spence?
Oh, definitely Leonardo. I loved Leonardo. He was the one with the blue.
Yep.
He was the leader. He was like the guy, right? And everybody wanted to be like, there's Leonardo, Michelangelo, what's the other two? Donatello, and then started with R. Can't remember it. Raphael. Everybody wanted to be Raphael or Michelangelo because those were like, one was the anger guy and then one was the cool guy, like the skateboarder, right? So I always loved Leonardo because he was just the leader, and then he would just be, wanting to always make the team better.
Yeah.
Even though and then he would just be the guy that, you know what, I'm going to be the one that goes in front of Shredder and I'm going to be the leader and try to do that. That's what I always loved about Leonardo.
Yeah, see, I can't pick one because I know my identities are split.
Right.
And because all the different roles that I take on. So everything's split.
Let's say 2. Let's say 2.
It's hard because there's the nerdy version of me. There's also the brute version of me that gets very aggressive and angry and agitated and doesn't think. There's also the extremely smart, highly intelligent, or that's the nerdy one. There's also the leader that's cool, calm, collected, right? And then there's the other dude that's just like a straight up fucking goofball and then just cracking jokes.
But then who would your second grade be? Who would you pick in second grade, though?
It would probably be the goofball.
So you'd be Michelangelo.
It would be the goofball, just eating pizza, chilling.
Yeah, there you go.
Just running around and then puking because I ran around after I ate pizza. Yeah. And I still have the same dating and flirting as I do in second grade. I would just run around and punch girls in the arm and I'm like, I like you, and then run away.
I don't even think you said, I'm pretty sure you didn't even say that. You're like, and then you just run.
Yep. It's the same
with
tactic.
Your pizza.
Same tactic.
You got pizza in your hand, punch them like, and then you just run away.
This has diverged so far from ancestors.
It's true, but you know what?
It's good.
Yeah, it's a nice conversation, right? Vic, who would you be? Would you be?
I don't think she remembers the Ninja Turtles.
I don't think she does.
So you guys are gonna laugh at me. So I watched. Do you guys remember Lamb Chop? The Lamb Chop show?
No, I don't remember that. Maybe if I saw it, but no.
Okay, so I was a Lamb Chop, Barney,
Okay.
Power Rangers, but my favorite, Sonic the Hedgehog.
There you go.
All right. Nice.
Be Sonic. Oh, because you're a runner too.
Wow. Or she was like Knuckles.
Yeah. Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles. He was a good one.
Yep. There you go. I love having these talks about our inner child and our inner selves and are we making them happy. So as I can lean into spirituality and your ancestor and your lineage and doing the prayer and meditations like from the scene itself, I've also have had students like, you're not connected to yourself. You don't love yourself. Let's go back to some older versions of you before all this crazy stuff happened. The one student, I was like, I want you to do this creative play therapy. Or like we started doing some drawings and made like this box and like, how can we invest into that box, into that love, and then open it up when we can be vulnerable and then give some things to people. Also have made students go buy a teddy bear. Remember I had one student go to Build-A-Bear and they're like, I'm scared to go to Build-A-Bear. So they took their friend and they went to Build-A-Bear with their friend. They still have it.
Scared.
Nice.
They still had it. And I was like, they were like 20 years old going in there, Build-A-Bear with like a bunch of 5-year-olds.
But let's be real though. Now is like, we've had this discussion. Now is the perfect time to be actually getting toys because you actually have the money to do it. Right? Like I can't wait till I get a house because I'm gonna be filling that thing with so many like Legos and toys and stuff like that because now I can actually do it.
Yep.
Right. And then I can keep them and be like, wow, I got all these toys.
Yep.
Time to go to sleep.
I just sleep better knowing that they're there.
Yeah. And if anybody takes one, I'm gonna be like, I'm in no.
Wow.
Because that's what I was like as a kid too. I was like, no, that's mine. That's my toy. Sorry. No. Get your hands off it.
Yep.
Don't touch it.
I mean something.
That's so
man.
funny you guys say that because I find myself over the last few years when like Christmas shopping for Lily, and I'm like, man, that Barbie looks really nice. I would play with that.
Yeah.
Buying it for her. I don't play with it, of course, but I'm like,
oh man,
it's
sure.
like I buy her stuff that I think she might like based on things I'm like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I don't think it's weird. If you come to my office, students immediately relax.
Yeah.
Use toys and gadgets. And one kid, literally the other day, I was like, "Hey, you freaked out coming into my room? I'm a big boy. I scare people." One person today was like, "Yeah, you're terrifying." Like I saw you walk out down the hallway. I'm like, "Is this my counselor?" And then they're like, "Oh," and then I thought you were a student because I was wearing a different hoodie and some blue jeans and some Jordans. Like, this is a student. And they're like, "Oh my God, this person just called my name. This is my counselor." So they were terrified. They said, "You're actually not that scary." I'm like, "Thank you."
Thank you. When I first look at you, you're scary. Yeah.
Yeah. But a student the other day, and these aren't like 12-year-olds, folks. These are like 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds that I'm working with at the college. The one goes, come on, this office is scary. You're not scary. I'm like, why'd you say that? Well, maybe after I looked at one of the 10 teddy bears that are in your office.
It's true. It's so true.
I like have them all strategically placed. I forgot that some of them were there. There's not 10. It's not that weird. There's like one teddy bear, and then there's an Eeyore. It's got depression. Then there's like this little dinosaur thingy with the sequins on it. Whatever. I was cracking up. I'm like, oh, are you judging me right now?
You soft, bro. You soft. Oh, your teddy bears and shit.
No, maybe
Teddy.
Oh, Teddy.
Ted.
Oh, Teddy boy. And I got the panda in the corner. It's a lot. It's a hoot. But it's very comfortable, and everyone seems to be very relaxed. Even my more masculine, massive athletes come in the office and they feel good. They're just chilling. Different vibe.
Yeah.
So, interesting talks today.
Yes.
I was going to lead into a gratitude meditation. I will save that for a different scene. I will save that for the Thor scene when Odin passes and him and Loki are just sitting there. I'm gonna save that for that scene. So, therapists, us of color. When you're working with students, when you're working with clients, other folks of color, you can lean on some of these things, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a prayer, but it could be a meditation. Because prayer in some forms is meditation, especially in the Catholic Church, with the scents and the smells. There's a lot of meditative states. I would use this scene. And pull from it. Also, the second thing is, folks that are watching this, what would the second grade version of you want? I advise you to go buy it. Go buy it. You're paying attention to this? Go buy it. Whatever it is. You probably didn't want something that cost $1 million when you're in second grade, so it's like, fine. You can spend $20, $30 and go buy it. Or dress up as it for Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm too big to afford the costume for Kylo Ren, so I'm just gonna get the mask because it's massive, and then I got the sword. I'm just gonna wear a hoodie.
That'd be awesome. I definitely want to come down for Halloween one year. Maybe this year. We'll see.
It would be the ghetto also, Kylo Ren.
It's just black robe with the lightsaber.
I was gonna wear a black hoodie and then get like a black towel and then cut a hole in it like Mike Tyson.
Oh my God, that would be so terrifying walking down the street. Jesus,
this the hood Star Wars.
What's good, man? Use the force, dog. But yeah, I would say also, just on a side note too, another side note. One thing I really want to pass down to my kids is just like all those VHS tapes I have, because I really want them. I want them to watch like VHS tapes and see, like, you can be focused on one thing and just you could just stay focused on this movie. You don't have to like look at a phone or anything like that. Just do what we used to do. It's like, just watch something. Because nowadays, I do it where I'm just like chilling and I'm like on my phone while something's playing on the TV. And it's terrible because like you don't even get like, sometimes you don't get like the full context of things when you're just staring at your phone, right?
I think that's another thing on why people don't see things the way I do, because I'm all in the show. And people will be on the phone, this and that. They, I didn't see that. Well, that's because I'm connecting to emotions the entire time. In my mind, there's like this gateway in this wire. And and there's this wire of emotions I'm holding on to. When I'm watching the show, I'm completely vulnerable.
Right.
Or I could be watching it and talking or living without touching that wire, that emotion.
Yeah.
And it's different. So that's why sometimes I can talk about grief on this podcast and it's fine. But then I touched that wire the other day when we talked about Uncle Joe, and I tanked because I was touching the emotions of the phone call that we had with him or without him and the family. And it was a very intense phone call.
Right.
And then I emotionally catastrophized and tanked in the moment. It was intense. My father was like, Jesus Christ. He didn't think I was going to write tank like that. It was intense. I tank sometimes.
Right.
A student told me today, don't want to be so emotional anymore. Emotions are awesome. They're such a gift. We can put some temper some things down and put in some speed bumps, but we don't want to get rid of emotions. That's how we know we're alive. That's how we know we feel a big joy, big love.
Yeah.
But when I said that, their entire body language changed because they just so embarrassed and shameful of their emotions. A lot of my young women, they've been terrorized because of their emotions by friends, by family, this and that. We're getting to a different story now. I'll have to say this for a different podcast. Emotions are not a bad thing. We need to understand them. And as soon as you start to understand things, when you emotionally tank, you can process them and it won't be as hard anymore. The fact that we don't understand them and we don't process them, we get very fearful and shamed and weird stuff.
We're supposed to emote, but we have society telling us, she's too sensitive, she's too emotional, or you're not too you're not being masculine enough. You're not supposed to cry. Why don't cry?
It's like we can't.
So breaking the stigma.
Yeah, we can't be happy. We can't be sad. A lot of men show childlike joy. So childlike joy. Oh my God, Spence! I have to tell this here, even though this is longer podcast than I wanted it to be today, but it's fine. So I was talking to the dude in the weight pit today. I made a friend today, people.
There we go.
Made a friend in the weight pit. It's the only place I can make friends.
Friend.
His friend.
Sure.
So we was talking, and so we were done with our sets because we were switching on and off in the set. I ended up following the damn near the whole time in the gym because it's packed at Purdue. And so we would go on and off and trade off. And then, he went on to this last thing and I was cashed out. And so as he was picking up his stuff and we exchanged our names and, they're a grad student, I work there, go to fist bump him. But he's got his headphones and his weightlifting belt in his hand. So this is what he did. I go to fist bump him. He went like this. Or no, I went to shake his hand and he just put out his finger. And then I shook his finger.
Oh my God.
Brother, I went to shake it. I never shake hands. You know that, but I thought it'd be appropriate here. And then he shoved out his little finger because his hands were full. I was like,
Bing. Oh my God.
Was that like a good moment or was that like
it was hilarious.
Shit, don't shake hands?
Oh no, he was just busy with all this stuff in his hand. So then I gave him a fist bump. It was so awkward.
The fist bump was awkward?
All of it was awkward. It was hilarious.
What was his reaction?
I think he just went with it. Like when I shook his finger, he was like cool with it. I'm like, this is weird.
Oh my gosh.
I love people.
Yeah. Great.
That's the first time that's ever happened. I go to shake someone's hand and they just beep boop.
Oh my God.
It's just why I don't shake people's hands.
It's fine. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I literally get traumatized every time I try to people the right way.
Yeah, I know. You can't do it. No, just be you. Just be awkward.
Yep. I had another student go to fist bump me today after we left the session, and they just looked at it. I'm supposed to do with this. I was like,
what do you think?
Punch it.
Yes.
And then they were like, you don't do the blow up noise? And I'm like, so you know the blow up noise, but you didn't know what I was doing with my fist?
So wait, when you said blow up noise, are we going to what movie is that?
That's from Big Hero 6.
Hero
la,
6.
La la
Yeah.
la la.
Yeah, his literal avatar. He's Baymax.
How may I assist you today? I'm your personal healthcare companion.
You should I'm telling you, you should just dress as Baymax when you just one day.
I love when Baymax.
Like him.
The favorite part of Baymax, is when he gets very low battery and he acts drunk. It's literally the best part.
Is that the first one or the second one?
No, it's in the series. So there's actually a Disney series. It's not the mini series of Baymax. It's the actual
movie too.
It's a Baymax, or it's the Big Hero 6 series. It's 3 seasons. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And he gets like hella drunk.
So
yep. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Yes. We had a lot of topics today. We talked a lot about a lot of things. Going from, our ancestors to our kid selves to cartoons, movies, all the toys, all the good stuff. So thank you people for watching. Thank you, Vicky, for joining us today.
Thank
we really
you guys for having me.
Love having our guests in. Thank you everybody for watching. This is going to be a longer one, but you know what? You stuck in there. You did it.
Fun.
You did it. You know what you should do for that? You should like our video, and then you should also share it. That's what you should do.
If you made it this far, like and share it.
Let's be real. If you made it that far, you should be sharing it.
Give yourself a pat in the back.
Yeah.
My arms are too short. I can't do that.
You got T-Rex arms. All right. And with that, please comment down below if you have any scenes that you want us to break down. So please like, subscribe,
share it,
comment,
and comment.
All right, peoples. I'm gonna start doing this because I know this makes Spencer laugh. I'm gonna start doing my Muppet. I can't unsee that in my mind now.
I know.
All right, bye, people.